Hey, what is up? I hope you're feeling nice and spooky today. I know I am. I even got a big old spooky pimple right there on my face. Just a little quick updates before I start the breakdown of this incredible movie. I am going to be changing the format of these videos up a little bit. I'm going to be removing the speed drawing footage that I usually include. And I'm only going to put like the final image. And for the art videos, that's when I'll use like the speed art. I feel like it just makes more sense. It's more cohesive. But moving on. Today we will be discussing a movie about a grandparent who is the leader of a satanic cult who, despite having a very strained relationship with their own child, uses their power and their influence to manipulate one of their grandchildren into becoming a part of their cult. This in turn kind of like tears the family apart. I know what you're probably thinking. You're like, fuck yeah, I love Hereditary. It is a masterpiece of a film, a top tier elevated horror movie. And I agree with you. However, I'm very sorry to disappoint. Instead, we'll be discussing 1987's Hack-O-Lantern. What I can say is that just like Hereditary, despite these very superficial coincidences, Hack-O-Lantern does include elements of like familial trauma and kind of like toxic relationship dynamics within the immediate family structure. A lot of this revolves around the matriarch of the movie. But that's really the nicest thing I can say about this movie, because none of the characters are particularly likable in the sense that you're rooting for them. The dialogue is really some of the worst I've ever heard, and I feel like I've said this before, but this movie is up there. Cinematography is meh. It's a very extremely predictable movie, and you don't have to be like me, who's watched countless horror movies at this point, to figure out who the killer is within the first quarter of the movie. Another thing is that Hack-O-Lantern came out during the era of Satanic Panic, and I've been very fascinated by this time period. I know it started around 1980. That was way before I was born, so I always like wonder what it was like to live during this time period. I mean, it is said it ended in the mid-90s, but I was way too young to remember what the hell even happened then. If you are unfamiliar with Satanic Panic, it was essentially a moral panic that started in the United States and by the late 90s became a worldwide issue. There were tons of unsubstantiated claims of SRA, which kind of started after the publication of Michelle Remembers by Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pastor and his patient Michelle Smith. It is also important to note that Smith would later become Pastor's wife. Yeah. We will dive a little bit more into this theme after I break down the movie. So, a few facts about the movie itself before starting. Funnily enough, last year it was featured on the People's Court when the owner of Massacre Video, who distributed the Blu-ray of the movie, took some dude to court for hosting the movie on YouTube. More importantly, the movie does star High Pike, known for Blade Runner and Dolomites, as well as Gregory Scott Cummins, known for Batman Returns, Bosch, and my personal favorite, Luther McDonald of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was very happy to see a young Luther. It made the experience like a million times better. That's really all I have to say prior to starting, so let's get to hacking. It's sometime in the like late 60s and it's Halloween. And our main character, Tommy, gets a surprise visit from his grandfather, played by Pike, who lets him pick a pumpkin from the back of his pickup and gives him a couple of little gifts. This is definitely played up as some like wholesome familial encounter until the next scene when Tommy, who's attempting to carve the pumpkin, purposefully throwing the guts on his sister Vera, who then goes to complain to their mother.
That's enough, Tommy. I told you to let your father do the jack-o'-lantern later. You're gonna cut yourself.
Trick or treat, give me all your candy or I'll blow your head off.
Oh yeah, that's Roger, their younger brother. Guess what he's gonna be when he gets older? If you guessed Trump supporter, you're probably also correct about that.
Bing, bang, you're dead.
Tommy then like cuts his fingy and he starts sucking up the blood like a freak, and it's gross. And this kind of gets brushed off, by the way.
Tommy, we have to wash that.
But Mom, I like the taste of blood. Grandpa says it's good for me.
Well, Tommy's mom doesn't take the news of her father being around very well.
The world is a vampire.
So she then tells Tommy's father about everything. He's like, why your dad's so weird? I'm gonna go give him a piece of my mind. And Tommy's mom's like, nah, don't do that, please. But that don't stop dude. After arriving, Tommy's father sees this, just normal Halloween night hijinks. Nothing I've never dabbled in before,
He belongs to something greater than you could ever imagine.
Don't give me this crap. You come around him again, I'm gonna bust you wide open.
Hey, yo. Well, he gets a hammer to the back of the head before getting set ablaze by Gramps. And then we skip ahead 13 years to Halloween night. 13, you get it? 13 years. And Tommy gets another visit from Grandpa. And he's all like, yo, Tommy, tonight you will know your true power, before doing some super cool satanic handshake that I'm not jealous of at all. They also break the fourth wall, which is always fun.
He happens to have beautiful sparkling blue eyes that just pop right out of his head.
I don't blink.
The man doesn't blink, Mom! The man doesn't blink!
Tommy's mom then confronts her father about this hold he has on Tommy. And in this scene, we also find out that he wants to bang his daughter. So yeah, they threw incest into the mix. This actually really doesn't hold any relevance to the plot. They kind of just threw it in there as like another weird thing Grandpa does. And then we finally see adult Vera, who is planning to go to this super cool Halloween party later on in the night with her friend Beth. And Roger will be working this event because, he's a cop. The next scene, though, is super amazing for a couple of reasons. One, Tommy is still going to his angsty teen phase as like a 30-year-old man. And two, it's like the most 80s scene in cinema history. Literally a whole ass music video plays, but they play it off like it's Tommy's nightmare. You got some dope effects, top notch. The song is the devil's music. It is of the devil's variety of tunes. I mean, listen to it. Tommy's mom is on the verge of insanity at this point. She just doesn't know what to do with him.
I can't help him. I can't control him. Only you could see what kind of company he keeps.
And who may this company be, you may be thinking? Good question. It's this girl, Nora, who doesn't like to wear pants. And she has this Sharpie tattoo on her butt. By the way, Nora is played by adult film star Gina Fine, known for esteemed adult film titles such as The Blowjob Adventures of Dr. Fellatio 14, Generally Horny Hospital, and Willy Wonka at the Fudge Packin' Factory. Classics. Gramps then finds Tommy just in time because
You know you must be pure for tonight.
that's right, he needs to be pure for his initiation. This whole time, I was under the impression that the devil was super cool. He was about a good time. He was about rock and roll and partying. And little did I know, he's a fucking square. Meanwhile, Vera is planning to have sex with her boyfriend, Brian, for the first time tonight.
Well, all you guys are decorating this afternoon for the party. Brian and I could play trick or treat.
And sparks are flying between Roger and Beth. After speaking with his mother earlier, Roger decides he's gonna go talk to big bro Tommy, find out what's the deal.
Where is it that you go all day? Huh? What do you like to do with yourself?
Would you fucking leave me alone?
God, Tommy, what the hell is wrong with you?
Look, I let you in here to talk. We talk and you do nothing but bother me.
He literally asked like 1.5 questions. Not even getting to like the brass tacks of his supposedly alarming behavior. Like why he be working out all day, hanging out with pantsless chicks, and sleeping in this bed that doesn't have a frame. Things don't go so well when Roger insinuates that Tommy isn't doing anything meaningful with his life, but Tommy shows him. He's like, really? Well, joke's on you, bruh. What do you call this? I mean, I gotta agree though, because it takes a lot of meaningful work to create and maintain an altar, you know? You can't just use any candle, like a Yankee candle is out of the question. The lighting needs to be the perfect shade of red, more crimson, less candy apple. And the doll heads, you think you can use a Barbie head for this? No, it gotta be those baby doll heads, you know, those like vintage ones. So, in your face, Roger. Go home, Roger. So Nora is taking a dip in the pool. They didn't bother to keep up with her butt tattoo here. It's very much smudged. You know, it wouldn't bother me though if they didn't make it a point to be like, look, this tattoo is very real. It's so real.
So what does Nora Bennington have that I don't have?
For one thing, a tattoo on her butt.
Yeah, I bet you go for that sort of thing, don't you?
So Nora decides to go inside and to dry off. And this is when we get our first kill scene and our first look at the killer. Grandpa stops by the venue as they're setting up the party for later. And they're doing a bad job at it, might I add, because look at that sign. That lettering it's an absolute crime. And that ghost looks like it looks very sus. So while Grandpa is given his truckload of pumpkins he seems to always have in the back of his truck to Vera, and being a super creeper Creepington, Brian's all like, whoa, 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 oh man, back the fuck up. That's my piece of ass. And unbeknownst to him, that's like Vera's grandfather. Roger then also has a little chit chat with Gramps. He's like, you know, Grandpa, a lot of strange shit been going down recently. There's been grave robbings, tons of satanic rituals, and just so you know, I got my eye on everything. And Gramps is all like, fuck all that noise. My thing is, though, the family, they know he's like some satanic cult leader. It's no secret. And they have a very strong hunch, a correct one, that he killed their father and husband. So why are they so cordial with him? They're just like, oh, it's just crazy, kooky, just Satan worshipping, incestuous grandpa. Gotta love the guy. Vera convinces Roger to ask Beth out, and Beth is very, very horny, and she doesn't hide it.
You want to take me into custody?
All right.
But she's not the only horny one, because Tommy returns to the house later and he catches Vera and Brian attempting to have the sex. And he's not about it. He's like, nope. He even goes full Rambo as Brian is all angry, walking through the cemetery as one would do, pissed that he got cock blocked. He becomes the next target for the killer. And he runs into this enormous, very noticeable, extremely shallow hole and can't seem to escape and gets killed. Kind of deserves it at that point. Then we get the next scene, which is like my favorite scene. Roger and Vera are on the phone with each other. I'm having a completely normal, very natural conversation, just like two real human people who are siblings would definitely have.
I think you should keep an eye on Beth. She's capable of all sorts of crazy things. Hey, by the way, where is she?
We're at the fruit stand around the corner. She said she wanted to stop and pick up some passion fruit or something.
Yeah, okay, but don't get too passionate.
Then Mother stumbles in, acting very normal as well.
Roger, he leaves home to become a cop. Tommy, so aloof and distant. You only have time for your friends.
Mom, that's not true!
You treat me like I'm the enemy. And all I want is to keep my family together.
See, this is what psychologists would call enmeshed parenting. It's actually considered a form of child abuse. Fun fact. So Halloween night festivities are beginning with some light satanic rituals and initiation, as well as some branding. I'm 99.9% sure that's a rubber stamp though, because I mean, look at it. Also, the person who wrote this movie clearly doesn't know the difference between getting tattooed and getting branded. Roger decides to bring Beth along as he's patrolling the cemetery to stop any potential grave robbers and vandals. He ends up waving a gun at like a large group of children. Funny thing about this scene though is that you can tell that it's a group of children before that is revealed to be a group of children, and you can even literally hear that it's a bunch of kids. However, after eating all that passion fruit earlier and watching as Roger almost incompetently kills a bunch of children, Beth is extremely hot and horny. She can't take it at this point. She gotta have him. They unknowingly begin to bang it out on this pile of dirt, which is also above a corpse. See, Beth digs through the dirt, thinking that's how to get to Roger's hand. Mind you, he is already using both of his hands on her body as well. This scene is bananas, but it sets the precedent for the next two scenes. Those are more bananas. We finally get to the bitchin' party, and there's an unnecessarily long striptease. This is followed up though by a stand-up routine by whoever this cornball is. Not sure who this guy is, but he makes Brendan Schaub seem like Bill Burr.
Like my favorite part in there is the naked girl. I love the naked girl. But now I got a favorite brand new part. The little memo right underneath the naked girl's picture. Because the things they say about themselves, they're not quite accurate, are they? I mean, they say things, for example, like, I'm just a conservative girl. Oh, and then you turn the page and here she's getting all emotional on you. I just need a man who understands me.
Dicey, dicey!
Beth and Vera are getting ready for the Halloween party when Vera asks, "Hey Beth, where did you have sex with my brother?" So they go to the cemetery and Beth is like, "There, I gave it to your brother real good and real hard on that pile of dirt that's definitely above a corpse." So Vera spots the hand sticking out from earlier and thinking it's another one of Beth's crazy pranks. Vera starts tugging on this hand and it is revealed to be Brian, her boyfriend. She naturally assumes it's Tommy, but Vera's like, you know what? I'm gonna interrupt Tommy's big initiation, his big ceremony. Make a big old scene, and so she does it, only for her grandfather to demand that she be sacrificed by Tommy for the disruption. Tommy has a change of heart last minute though, and Gramps is all like, nah, this ain't gonna fly. First my daughter didn't want to have sex with me, now this. So he's out for vengeance. Well, back to the bitchin' party. For a small town, I gotta admit, it's pretty lit. They got this stripper earlier, they got this snake charmer. I'm not gonna count the comedian dude, but they got this guy, and I don't know what his costume is, but holy hell, I didn't even realize he wasn't wearing a shirt till I watched the movie the second time. But we do meet our next victim, and she is this party goer. She gets infatuated with Roger upon first glance, and unfortunately makes a decision to head to the bathroom where she encounters our killer.
Hiya, devil. Some party, huh?
See, her kill scene is very inventive. Her corset gets over tightened and then she gets stabbed in the back. Best kill scene of the movie. Beth and Vera find Roger and they tell Roger about what happened at the barnyard, so he brings some backup and goes to investigate, yet when they get there, nothing is going on. So they kind of just split up and call it a night, but guys, there's a freshly murdered corpse at the cemetery. I think you might want to investigate that as well. I don't know, seems pressing, but no one seems to care, and it's somewhat understandable. Brian seemed like a total tool. Beth and Vera enter the bathroom because Vera feels like she needs to fix her makeup. Can't let almost getting sacrificed by your brother and grandfather, as well as finding your boyfriend's corpse, fuck up your whole vibe. While they're in there, though, they do see the corpse of the party goer.
Some people just can't handle their punch.
Dude, she's not blinking. You would think that they would be able to identify another dead body since they saw one like 15 minutes ago. But poor Beth, she's the next to get hacked. I mean killed, you know, her email wasn't compromised. She didn't download the Da Vinci virus.
Hack the planet!
Vera then goes back to the bathroom and discovers the bodies and is obviously a total idiot.
I need your help!
So she runs out of the bathroom and runs right into Grandpa, who's just a tad bit vexed about earlier. But before you know it, the killer and Gramps are having a good old-fashioned duel, and Gramps gets injured. If you haven't figured out what's going on by now, I'm sorry to tell you, you are not good at watching horror movies. As Gramps lay dying and these extras are overacting, he then transfers some like evil red orb spirit into Roger's forehead. Oh no. The killer is then shot by Roger as they're attempting to escape, and they manage to make it all the way to the cemetery and take off the mask, only to be revealed as oh my god. What? I mean, only the people affiliated with her children were getting killed. And she kept stressing over and over that she didn't want her family to grow apart. So, But Tommy shows up just in time and cradles his dying mother in his arm. And just as she's taking her last breath, he does the sign of the cross. So hallelujah, guys. He is a God-fearing man now. So happily ever after. Nope, not just yet, because there is a new satanic cult leader in town, and he traded in his badge for a nice shiny cloak. The end. Now it's actually the end of the movie. That's it. Yeah, that was the movie. It was great, right? Let's get into my thoughts and other people's thoughts. I was having a difficult time finding genuine reviews for the movie, and what I mean by that is reviews by individuals who sat down to watch the movie and expected a good scary movie, and who either A, did think it was good and scary, or B, were disappointed by the fact that it wasn't good and scary, because every review I found was written by someone who watched it for the same reasons I did, and they were all favorable reviews. However, I do feel obligated to share thoughts, right? So I'm going to share 1.5 things I found on the internet that have to do with this movie. One is actually an excerpt from a recent mention of the movie in the Nashville scene on their website. If you want to see a movie with a character that gives off the vibe of Divine playing Emperor Palpatine, look no further than 1987's Hack-O-Lantern. This is not really a review so much as it is an observation that I needed to share because I couldn't unsee it after I read this. It's spot on. We got this review from Danny Pound Sounds, and it's 2 out of 10 stars. Really, really bad. Not to be missed. A steaming pile of a movie that you won't want to miss. Truly stupid, confused, and painful to watch. Grandpa is a Satanist. His grandson, Tommy, is the apple of his eye. He trains little Tommy in the black arts. They do nasty stuff. There are other characters, and they are also doing things. Oh, and there's a fantastic heavy metal video. Tommy is in a hair metal band. Or a song called Satan's Son. There is so much I want to tell you, but I don't want to ruin the surprise, you know? Let's just say I laughed. I cried. I furrowed my brow. I stopped paying attention. I tuned back in, and there was a sequence with a really bad comedian. It made no sense continuity-wise, but so what? This movie just blows. And that is the highest recommendation I can give it. See it today. I shared this because, like I said, it was like a lot of reviews like this, and it's just really the perfect encapsulation of what this movie is about and also how it should be consumed. It's also just really less about the quality, more about what the movie represents at this point. It's just a relic of a period of time when pop culture was under attack by these conservative religious zealots who felt that true American values were being destroyed by Dungeons and Dragons and heavy metal music, and they were using these rumors of SRA as some like form of scapegoating. Now, this is something I realized I would like to dive into a little bit more in another video in correlation to other horror movies. I know that this movie is a product of this time period, but I don't think it's the right movie to use in a more in-depth video. But it was relevant enough to lightly bring up for this video. What I will say is that, unfortunately, Satanic Panic hasn't really ended. I know I said the mid-90s, but it has actually just evolved. It's become something a little less cartoonish and overt as it was 30-something years ago. It is seen as arguably more dangerous and extreme now. I mean, you'll see it with things like the political conspiracy theory and movement QAnon, who believe that there's this global satanic cult of wealthy and elite individuals who are trafficking children for prostitution, pornography, sacrificial purposes. This is tied into the Pizzagate conspiracy theory. We also have instances here and there of things like this.
It grieves me, the thought of exposing our kids to darkness.
Gooch says there's a spiritual war being waged against homes in America, and Hollywood is part of the problem. And right now, one film in particular.
The whole movie is based on witches harvesting children for blood sacrifices.
Like, listen, if you want to deprive your children of experiencing Halloween and watching Disney movies, then so be it. That's really on you. I just don't think you should be shoving your beliefs down everyone's throats and all these like completely bonkers, insane theories. This woman seems like the type to read a chick tract and think that that's like nonfiction. I almost guarantee it with the way she thinks. But yeah, in terms of my recommendation, I say go see it. See the movie. If that even means anything. If you're like me, you like to watch silly horror movies outside of watching good ones, this will be right up your alley. Especially if you would like a look into the past during like seeing things that were made during a time that you weren't around to experience. That's definitely a bonus. High Pike is phenomenal to watch, by the way. He is over the top. He steals the show. He even pairs his satanic cult robe with some flannel, which is very daring of him. And we got Gregory Scott Cummins again, a real treat. Even though I couldn't stop thinking of Luther every time he was on screen, which was like 80% of the movie. And look, I even did some super cool art for it. I hope you like it. I like it. That will be all for today. So give me a like, give me a comment, give me a subscribe.